Yo, what's up YouTube? Welcome to Tricky Jim, and thank you so much for tuning in. If you're new here, my name's Andrew Mahone. I'm a world-class Pokemon TCG player and regional champion. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to win more games in the Pokemon TCG Pocket with special conditions, specifically using my buddy Hypno here. Now I'm stoked to get to the content, but before we do, let's hear a word from my sponsor, Full Grip Games. Does opening packs on Pocket have you itching to start a physical Pokemon TCG collection? If so, look no further than FullGripGames.com. FullGripGames.com is the best place to buy Pokemon trading card game singles and sealed products. Full Grip has a huge selection of cards to choose from and fantastic service to back it up. To top it all off, Full Grip's Black Friday sale has started early with 15% off the entire website. Singles, sealed products, accessories, it's all 15% off at FullGripGames.com. 'Tis the season to save, folks. You'll want to catch these deals before they're gone. Shopping at FullGripGames.com directly supports the content that I create here on Tricky Jim. Alright, so I've been playing a lot of TCG Pocket over the course of the last few weeks, and I've had a good amount of time to take in the card pool and each deck's strengths and weaknesses. But there's one huge loophole in the current metagame that almost nobody is taking advantage of, and that's the fact that there are no easy ways to heal your Pokemon from special conditions. Now, in the standard Pokemon TCG, there are 5 special conditions: asleep, confused, paralysis, burned, sleep, confuse, paralysis, burn, and poison. Is that all of them? But in Genetic Apex on TCG Pocket, there are only 3 special conditions so far: paralysis, poison, and sleep. Paralysis is by far the strongest special condition, rendering the defending Pokemon unable to attack or retreat during your opponent's next turn. Paralysis is so strong that the effect is usually relegated to a coin flip. The most popular Pokemon in Genetic Apex that can inflict paralysis is Pincurchin with its Thunder Shock attack, which costs 2 lightning energy, does 30 damage, and inflicts paralysis on a coin flip. Pincurchin has been a reasonably popular option in Pikachu EX decks to steal extra turns with paralysis. The next most powerful special condition is sleep. Now, both sleep and paralysis have the same effect on the defending Pokemon. It makes it so that that Pokemon can't attack or retreat. But what makes sleep different is that the defending Pokemon has an opportunity to wake up from sleep between every turn of the game. So even when you inflict sleep on your opponent's Pokemon, they have a chance to wake up and attack or retreat immediately after you inflict it. Unlike paralysis, there are some attackers that automatically inflict sleep, like Frostmoth with its Powder Snow attack, or Wigglytuff EX with its Sleepy Song attack. There's also going to be a Jigglypuff promo released in the near future with the Sing attack, which automatically puts the defending Pokemon to sleep for just 1 energy. And Jigglypuff will be the cheapest way to inflict sleep on the defending Pokemon once it's released. The final special condition, Poison, is much different than sleep and paralysis. It inflicts residual damage between turns, making it so that the poison Pokemon takes a damage counter between every turn of the game. That damage can certainly add up, but there's nothing inherently stopping your opponent's Pokemon from retreating out of that poison and healing the special condition. The most popular Pokemon that inflict poison from Genetic Apex are Weezing with its Gas Leak ability and Grimer with its Poison Gas attack. I mentioned before that unlike sleep and paralysis, Pokemon can just retreat out of poison to heal it. That's why a lot of players are playing Weezing with Arbok and its corner attack, which does prevent the opponent's Pokemon from retreating during their next turn. Over the last few days, I've been using special conditions to win countless games on TCG Pocket, but not with any of the Pokemon that I've mentioned in the video so far. Even though paralysis is the strongest special condition, Pincurchin is pretty weak, and you have to invest 2 energy into it and have it in the active spot, and then flip a heads in order to get the positive effect of paralysis. The strongest Pokemon at inflicting special conditions is by far Hypno, and I think Hypno is a card that way more people should be playing in their decks than we're seeing currently. Hypno has the Sleep Pendulum ability, which allows you to flip a coin once during your turn, and if heads, the defending Pokemon's now asleep. So that means you have a 50% chance during every turn that Hypno is established to put the defending Pokemon asleep. Then they have a 50% chance of waking up, which means you have a 25% chance of sticking your opponent's Pokemon in the active spot every time you use Sleep Pendulum. If you have 2 Hypno set up, that means you have a 75% chance of inflicting sleep, and then your opponent has a 50% chance of waking up, which means that you have a 37.5% chance of leaving your opponent stuck if you have 2 Hypno in play. What sets Hypno apart from all of the other special condition inflictors is that Hypno is a bench sitter. You don't have to have Hypno in the active spot in order to inflict sleep on the opponent's Pokemon. You could just have Hypno safely on your bench and harass your opponent's Pokemon while hammering them with some of the strongest attackers in TCG Pocket. And that is what makes the Hypno strategy so strong. My favorite decks right now are decks that are low to the ground, fast, and aggressive. But the problem with strategies like that is that they can often get outmuscled as the game wears on, and your Pokemon start getting one-hit KO'd by the likes of Mewtwo EX or Charizard EX and stuff like that. Hypno allows your deck that usually takes 2-hit KOs to occasionally steal a 1-hit KO by leaving the opponent's Pokemon asleep and allowing your Pokemon to double up on attacks and completely change the tides of any given game. My first Hypno deck is so hot right now. It features Moltres EX and Arcanine EX. Moltres EX is one of the best openers in TCG Pocket with its Inferno Dance attack, which only costs 1 fire energy and allows you to flip 3 coins, and you can accelerate a fire energy from your energy pool to your bench fire Pokemon in any way you like. Now, usually we see Moltres EX paired with Charizard EX to help power it up. But in this deck, we have Moltres EX with Arcanine EX and its Inferno Rush attack, which does 120 damage for 3 energy, and Arcanine does 20 damage to itself. Moltres and Arcanine work great together since Moltres can help power up Arcanine, and then a Moltres EX Heat Blast combined with an Arcanine EX Inferno Rush does 2-hit KO everything in TCG Pocket. Now, many of you have probably already tried Moltres EX with Arcanine EX and realized that the deck just doesn't have the same power level as a deck like Mewtwo EX with Gardevoir or Charizard EX. But with Hypno, this deck can compete with all of the best decks in TCG Pocket. A middling attacker like Moltres EX actually turns into a pretty solid attacker when you can keep your opponent's Pokemon asleep. Heat Blast only does 70 damage, but if you could stick your opponent's active Pokemon with sleep, then you get to double up on Heat Blast, and all of a sudden you're doing 140 unanswered damage with your setup Pokemon, Moltres. And then Arcanine EX does 120 damage, and if you can keep your opponent's active Pokemon asleep, that's 240 unanswered damage coming from your Arcanine EX. One of the coolest things about playing Hypno in your deck is that your deck doesn't need to work the same exact way every time in order for you to be successful. You can have games where you don't even start Moltres EX, and you actually just evolve up into Arcanine and start swinging with Inferno Rush, and if you hit a couple heads on Hypno, you can just win the game that way. Or you can start Moltres EX and use Inferno Dance to accelerate to another Moltres EX, and with Hypno, you can win the game with just Moltres EX and Heat Blast. My other favorite partners for Hypno are Articuno EX and Starmie EX. Articuno and Starmie are some of the most aggressive Pokemon in TCG Pocket, and you could just win games with an early Blizzard assisted by Misty if you flip some heads. But the problem with Articuno Starmie is that it lacks that endgame power of decks like Mewtwo EX and even Pikachu EX with Raichu. A Pokemon like Starmie EX is really good at taking quick and efficient knockouts with Hydro Splash, since it does 90 damage for just 2 water energy. With Hypno setup, Starmie EX can occasionally go for back-to-back unanswered Hydro Splash attacks, which will clear just about anything in TCG Pocket. After playing a ton of games with Hypno, I think it's a complete game changer as far as the early TCG Pocket meta is concerned, and I think we're going to see a lot more Hypno in decks going forward. Hypno is one of the few cards that allows for a true comeback in TCG Pocket right now. Without Hypno, it can kind of just feel like a race, and if you start losing the race, then you're going to lose the game. But with Hypno, you always have that chance to steal a back-to-back attack and take a knockout that you really had no business taking otherwise, which makes games a lot more exciting since you always have a chance to win, even as the game starts to fall out of reach. I really like and appreciate the design choice from the game designers to make special conditions feel impactful again. In standard format in the Pokemon TCG, it really feels like special conditions are an afterthought, as they almost never have an impact on serious games. But if you go all the way back to the early days of the Pokemon TCG, I'm talking 1999, special conditions used to have a huge impact on the outcome of games, and it's fun to see the game go back to its roots in that way. I hope this video was helpful and inspired you to try and win more games in TCG Pocket using special conditions. If you liked the video, please subscribe to the channel. That would make me feel warm and fuzzy on the inside. If you're interested in watching me play some of these decks, make sure to check out my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/TrickyJim, where I stream live Pokemon trading card game content every weekday. If you're not into Twitch, you can catch all of my stream VODs right here on YouTube on the Tricky Jim VODs YouTube channel. And one last thing before I go, if you're looking for a place to talk all things Pokemon cards, including TCG Pocket, make sure to join the Tricky Jim Discord, discord.gg/TrickyJim. We've got over 17,000 members in the Discord already, and it's always growing. We'd love to have you there. Now y'all take it easy and have a good one. I'll catch you next time. See ya.